Welcome back to the Jumpify Labs podcast. Today we are sitting down with Van Doe. She's from Imperion, which is a firm that's helped major clients like Sunmade save multiple millions of dollars while also cutting down energy waste. Van's not an engineer, but she's the growth engine behind a team that's helped secure over 50 million in grants and incentives for her clients, all while proving you do not have to be a pushy salesperson to grow a business. Van is a master at building trust, creating partnerships, and turning technical expertise into real world impact. And today we're going to dive into how relationship based selling and visibility really makes all the difference. Van, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jay, and I appreciate such a kind introduction.
Yeah, of course. I guess for anyone that doesn't know you, tell us a little bit about Imperion and your role with the team.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Van. I'm the Vice President of Business Strategy with Imperion, and we do industrial engineering consulting services. This can include anything from visiting a facility, doing an energy audit, to analyzing their energy usage data. We do measurement and verification, which shows quantified before and after if that's something that the client is looking for. Any sustainability service consulting, such as solar, EV. And then we also do a lot of wastewater consulting, since that goes hand in hand with some of our food and beverage customers. And most importantly, where I come into this puzzle is funding and incentive programs for our customers, which is the background I came to the team with. I have the experience of launching incentive programs with utilities all over the country. So I bring that expertise to really help our customers and partners navigate their incentive or grant funding journeys.
That's amazing. There's a lot to unpack there. You know, for somebody who, let's say you meet at a dinner party, how do you explain in, let's say, just a quick pitch, not a pitch, because I know that's not
Mhm.
your, it's not your arena, but how do you explain what does the work that Imperion is doing for other clients in a short phrase?
Yeah, I think honestly, we're such a niche business that I don't pitch myself most of the time. To my friends and family, I try to explain it to them in the most layman terms and compare residential being home technologies like their lighting, their AC kind of technologies to help them understand the rebate part, but at a large scale. But if I were to meet my perfect customer in the wild, I would kind of come up, introduce myself, and most importantly, explain how a company like mine would help them and what programs are available for a customer of their size. And just to give them that information in which they can definitely explore on their own if they choose to. But most of the time, they actually reach out and ask for additional assistance, since these applications tend to be very labor intensive and can be a little complicated.
Right. Yeah, definitely. From our discussion before, there is no one cookie cutter solution for every single client that you're helping. Everything is quite involved. Engineering has to get on board. Speaking of engineering, though, you are the only non-engineer on your team.
Yeah.
How did you actually find yourself in this role, and kind of what made you jump into such a technical space?
Well, years ago, I jumped into a role where I was the only operations person on the team because I saw that my skill set matched the job description. That job was looking for someone who was organized, attention to detail, great with CRM, meaning the customer relationship management system. And I had that background from my first job out of college. So I just, shot my shot, applied, told them passionately how I would, catch up on all the things I did not know about energy. And at that time, I just grew with that company and was also the only non-engineer on that team. And I met the current owners of Imperion. They were coworkers from a different office, but we always got along and somehow kept in touch. And when there was an opportunity to expand, I'm very grateful they thought of me.
That's amazing. And that goes to exactly the point of this, or the topic of this episode, because you use your relationship building skills and your warm personality to be the first on top of mind when they were looking to expand. So I know you're a low key salesperson, but you are the one that's driving growth and bringing in the clients. So you not really being a salesperson, but you also getting the clients. What does that actually look like in action?
In action, it could look like I am attending an in person networking event or a trade show in which I'll either meet technology providers or clients in our space and just let them know we're there, we're available for consulting, some recommendations they might not know about. One of the things we've been working on the last few months is the California Energy Commission FPIP, the food production investment program. And a lot of those times, I just let them know if they're a food processor, this grant opportunity is available to them. And once again, they can explore it on their own if they wish to, but most of the time they reach out for additional assistance.
Van, can you share a story where showing up at the right event or maybe at being part of the right community led to more business?
Yeah, definitely. I was at a local networking event for small businesses and I met a food manufacturing company where, by all means, to me, they are not small, but to, the legal mandates, they're technically under the small business category. But, to me, they're a huge enterprise and a high energy user. So I feel like for us, the more energy usage there is for a customer, there is more added value we're able to bring in for our clients.
And what role has trust and community played in actually winning new clients for Imperion?
For me personally, I noticed that we definitely have a great reputation. We consistently show up and provide a quality service. We're open and honest, and we will provide the recommendation we see fit based on quantified reasons. We do not recommend anything we don't believe in because I feel like in this industry, our reputation is everything. So we wouldn't want to hurt that.
Yeah, absolutely. Your reputation, it can take decades to build and it can be
Mhm.
smashed in just one really bad event, right? There's that whole cancel culture now, which
Yeah.
is super scary. If you do one wrong thing, you say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. If it's in the public eye, your reputation that's big, took you so long to build can just kind of be pulled from underneath you. Let's talk a little about the Sunmade project because that was a huge project for you guys. What made that stand out to you as especially rewarding?
I feel like the project, it, suffered some of the delays of the pandemic and yet it persevered. It had outstanding therm savings, which is a gas measurement, and it had a significant greenhouse gas reduction savings, which was the primary purpose of the grant it applied under that we mentioned earlier. So from a project point of view, it was very successful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. And then you've also mentioned that you've saved over $50 million in incentives and also secured grants, multiple millions of dollars. What does that exactly mean for your clients and how does that shape their decisions?
Right. Those money paid all went to the customer, so that wasn't 50 million to Imperion. But
Hmm.
what that means is we either earned them that money in a grant or for instance a utility incentive or rebate program. That means that they were able to upgrade to more energy efficient technology, better resilience while offsetting costs. Because the point of these rebate programs at all levels, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, it's meant to help you buy something a little more expensive than you might just off the shelf to be more energy efficient for our grid, but, offset that cost so that you can afford to get there.
Hmm. Okay, good, good. So that's definitely a huge value add for your clients because they get more money for funding, more money for just building efficiencies within the business. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your selling style. How do you actually balance being so humble with also the need to, of course, showcase what Imperion is doing?
Definitely. I feel like if it's a complete stranger, I would feel the need to showcase our success stories, our, how much we've saved in energy, how much we saved in gas, or how much grant and incentives we've won our customers. If it's someone we've worked with recurringly, then it's more about, hey, these are the resources I have to offer you. This is how we can kind of co-sell, if you'd like to call it that way, how we can collaborate on bringing in a new customer together where it would be a symbiotic relationship. And yeah, that's kind of my approach to it. And if there was like a solution for a customer that I feel like I can make the connection, but I won't be involved in this scenario, I'm more than happy to make that connection because I feel like, there's a lot of goodwill out there and it'll come back to us eventually.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, Van actually exemplified this after we initially spoke. She had already connected me with two other connections that we don't know where it'll lead, but at least it's worth exploring for mutually beneficial relationships. So, relationship selling is kind of your thing. And you have a very attractive personality, you're very warm and endearing. What are you actually doing or using, maybe any tools or some tracking for you to maintain these relationships? I know it's not meant to be a job, but I'm sure someone like yourself is actually maybe using a CRM, or what does that actually look like for you?
We definitely have a CRM. That is one thing that I sell at. So we are currently using Project Insight and they have been a great system to work with. It's helped me track my projects and even opportunities and the customers we have. So that's been really helpful at assigning tasks and kind of collaborating between the team. And especially because I'm remote, it gives us an extra layer of collaboration. Something more, layman would be I use LinkedIn religiously. When
Hmm.
I'm out on site, I am adding people in real time. I am reconnecting them later. I'm tagging them in photos. I'm tagging their companies and, just really building out our page so that the audience can see those services that we do offer, a track record of success. And it's also applies to when we're onboarding new team members. If they were to look at our, past projects, they can see what type of team they're signing on to work with. So I really love LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that is actually how you and I got connected.
Yeah.
So we're connected on LinkedIn now. And yes, so you are doing amazing things there. I think a lot of people tend to overlook LinkedIn because it's a professional, right? It's a professional network. But if you are in that space, then no other better avenue to find the people you want to work with. You mentioned that you are building out LinkedIn. Talk about some of the clients that you maybe I know there's for confidentiality purposes, but what are some of the biggest wins that came from LinkedIn that are maybe top of mind?
I think to be kind of generic, but still answering your question, there was a technology vendor that I needed to get a hold of, and I just sent them some cold emails, introduced myself. It's when you're not a friend, you only have like 200 characters to hurry up and give your pitch. So I just gave them a quick pitch, leave my email if they want to hear more. And it's all the times that they do reply, right? Because a lot of people won't reply, might not see it, don't get back to you. But it's always the few people who do reply. It's so rewarding and so exciting. And I actually was given the opportunity to talk their entire sales team statewide. So I feel like that was like a very rewarding moment.
That's amazing. And that's a testament to a lot of times we're forgetting that you really need just one big domino to start knocking the rest of them over, right? It's that getting that snowball going. And then once that snowball gets going, then a lot of times that's all we need just to start building that momentum. Okay. So,
Correct.
yeah, looking ahead, where do you see some of the biggest opportunities for Imperium in the next, let's say, 2 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think we'll continue to do really great at the grant work. We've done so great in the California grant realm that we've kind of been asked by trusted clients or trusted vendors to support their grant work in other states. I think we'll continue to do great at measurement and verification as the requirements for some of these programs increase. There's an importance to prove that your project is actually accomplishing what you claim it would be when you set out and just continue growth, new team members onboarded, new projects and new contracts to support, all great growth things.
Right. And then what kind of advice would you give to other professionals who maybe don't see themselves as salespeople, but still, of course, need to drive revenue and grow the business?
Well, Jay, I actually have a lot of mentees through all stages of lives, and I always tell them they have to sell themselves. So whether you're a salesperson or not, sell yourself. If you're applying to a job, you need to sell yourself. if you need new opportunities, you need to sell yourself. And once you have a job, you need to get a promotion, continue to sell yourself. So I would say put it into the universe exactly what you're looking for. Any event you're at, I'm here looking for XYZ and put it in the universe and they might think of you when the opportunity comes up. Sometimes for people who are too easygoing, I've known in a few of my colleagues where when I ask them to help them look for opportunities, they'll be like, "Oh, anything." And I'm like, "Well, to be honest, as a friend, I won't think of you for anything. If you tell me specifically what you're looking for, when I hear of those opportunities, I can think of you. But just anything isn't gonna spark any inspiration here."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's you try to be a master at or jack of all trades, but master at none. It kind of hurts you a little bit because yeah, you're not specialized. It's kind of an analogy I give to that is if you want to get your eyes fixed, are you going to go to an eye surgeon or someone who deals in general medicine?
Right.
Right? So you want to specialize. So absolutely, that's valuable takeaways. I think really like we've covered quite a bit. I like how you mentioned about LinkedIn, you're using a CRM and these tools, CRM and LinkedIn, they're both tools. You
Mhm.
can get the job done by yourself, but however, we want to be streamlined, we want to be efficient, and these tools just help us to do so. Van, I appreciate you so much. If people listening wanted to connect or learn more, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah, they can connect through my LinkedIn or they can email me, van@goimperion.com. Yeah, and I'm very responsive on LinkedIn, so if they really wanna get a hold of me, LinkedIn's the way to go.
Right. Amazing. Van, thank you so much for sharing your insights on being able to be number one, a successful growth driver for your company at Imperion, and also doing it in the most nicest, sweetest way you could possibly do it. I guess I want to touch on this before we go. There are different types of sales personalities. Not everyone can be a shark. Not everyone can be a super charismatic person. However, what I feel is you very much excel in just that warmth, and that's a skill set in itself. It may be inherently just your personality, but not everybody can pull that off. A lot of times when people do and it's not them, it can come across as fake. I'm sure you've seen and you've experienced that in the past. You're doing an amazing job. And I think for somebody else though that wants to maybe cultivate that in within them, maybe be a little bit more warm and they're maybe a naturally kind of forthright person. And the way I usually say if you know you're forthright or not is if somebody cuts in line, are you going to be the one to say, "Hey man, back of the line"? Like, and if you're not that person, that's okay. It's perfectly fine. It's not a good or a bad thing. But if somebody wants to be more on the warm side, maybe what is some advice that you can give them?
I got one for you. I feel like sometimes to be warm to a stranger or someone you don't know, you should relate them to someone who is in your life, someone you're very loving towards. For instance, I had a direct report who's, on the younger side, and she was working cross functionally with another team member who I feel like was being a bit harsh to her. And this team member, although I'm not very close to them, I felt like, um, the one thing I did know about this individual is that they're a good parent and they always spoke so lovingly about their kids. So I kind of sat them down and said, "Hey, your kids are going to be entering the workforce in a few years. Like, is that how you want them to be treated?" And I felt like that really got them that like, oof, like, no. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, exactly.
Yeah.
When there's an entry level employee, they're acting at their level, you can't fault them for that. They're new. So I feel like to humanize ourselves, to be more warm, we'll think of someone you care about. Find a common trait that you can draw parallels between that individual and someone you care about, or find some common ground. We can't get along or agree on everything, but if you could find common ground on a few things, I feel like it's enough to get along.
Absolutely. To anyone listening, to anyone watching, how can you not love Van's personality? For real. How can you not just be attracted to such a warm, endearing energy? So thank you for gracing me and the listeners with your energy today, Van. Once again, if you need to get a hold of her, if you feel like she may help, please find her on LinkedIn. She's at VAN space DO and she'll be happy to help. Thank you so much. And if you like content like this, if you want more stories from leaders, people who are actively in the trenches driving growth for their organizations, don't hesitate, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.